Greetings and bienvenue, midnight crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Visiting Chinatown. Alone as usual. Pop into a dumpling shop, and on this particular day it's pretty dead. Normally it's bustling. Order a fuck ton of pork and soup dumplings, and the waitress disappears into the kitchen. As I wait for my food, I look around and notice that the only people in the restaurant are me, an old couple in the corner, and one Asian businessman on his phone. The old couple is eyeing me strangely. I nod and smile, but they look away. Service bell dings. Here comes my food, yes. Look over at the double doors leading to the kitchen. They open and I watch as my tray of food makes its way over to me, balanced delicately on the raised arm of a big fat frog in a smock. I glance around. WTF is this? Old couple is scowling at me now. Asian businessman doesn't even seem to notice, he's glued to his phone. The frog person walks up to my table, drops off my food, he's just barely tall enough to do this, then turns around and walks back into the kitchen, just like a little person. A few moments of disbelief pass. Old couple still scowling, Asian businessman gets up and leaves. After a while hunger takes over and I simply chow down. I had never had, and to this day have not had, such fucking delicious dumplings. I ordered enough to take home with me, but ended up eating everything. My plates were totally clean. Never see the frog again, but leave a generous tip when I pay my tab. Thank you, my amphibious friend, whoever you were.
This story was handed down to me. It's about my grandpa and roughly goes like this. Grandpa is a young man in Sweden. He's exploring the woods with his friends. They've spent their entire lives in and out of the woods, they know every inch of it. But they come across these huge boulders that have inexplicably popped up in an area where they shouldn't be. Boulders are covered in patches of moss and mushrooms, very unnatural looking, almost like they're deliberately adorned. One of Grandpa's friends says they're trolls and they all get spooked because it's sunset and trolls are supposed to move around after dark. They race out of there and head for home. Next day I went back. The boulders are gone.
Heard this from some kid back in 2007. Kid B12. Parents bought some houses in a rural nowhere. 2-story rural farmhouse. Started having weird dreams every couple of days. He's in the backyard of a house, some older period. Bunch of similar kids around him. He's in suspenders and pants. The suspenders break and his pants fall down, with all these kids laughing at him. Some kind older lady scolds the kids and tries to help him fix his suspenders. She's in some sort of overalls dress with the straps and pockets, but the skirt is wide and puffed. Stop for a bit. Has abuse problems with parents. One night dreams of the same lady from the first dream, coming to see him. Asks him to go with her. He does. Has several dreams over the course of months, many of them going through fantasy worlds, museums and even cities. Happened about once a week. Kid would make meticulous notes and doodles of what he saw. Dreams stop when he's 13. Kid gets put in care of aunt later, where he has a much better life growing up. Aunt and him are called later to clear out his house of belongings, as both parents go to jail for something, he never said. Kid's about 15 to 16 at this time. As he's getting his stuff, he and aunt hear thump in the attic. They WTF and look. Abandoned attic, but found some things from the early 1900s. Find a sort of trunk. Inside is the outfit of the lady that he had all his dream adventures with, and an old black and white photo of her. Busted suspenders also in the trunk. Both are creeped out and left. Guy gets freaked out later that all his dreams were because of some ghost woman, burns all his 12-year-old scribbles out of fright. Never heard from him. He used to have another class in the same building I did during college. We connected over some video game. I think Age of Empires, but he got super bad grades and had to switch colleges.
Some years ago, in the middle of the night, everyone but me is asleep in the house. I live on the second floor with Grandpa. My room is next to a window to the street, where the lamppost shines to my face. Suffer from nyctophobia, fear of darkness. So I sleep with that thing just to stop myself from being scared by the bullshit my mind comes up with for no reason. But it's winter, so unless I want to freeze by having the curtain open, I have to rely on the staircase's light to provide it for me. The position of the door is such that light can pass between the door and the frame, forming a long line of light. Unable to sleep, just with my phone. Stairs creaked. Tends to happen with temperature changes, so ignore it. Look up. That line of light is shorter. Dismiss it. Look up again after a while. A shadow is noticeably blocking more light. Slowly hide my phone away. Shut it down. Play dumb and pretend I'm asleep. Take a peek with the eye that faces the wall. It's even closer now. Less light incoming from that between space. Now I'm actually scared. Door creaks and the hinges squeak a little. It never does that unless someone opens it. Now I'm as stiff as a corpse. Whatever the fuck is that is now walking from my doorstep to in front of my bed. It is as if many little feet were moving in my floor, just in front of me. Try to dismiss it as my floor creaking from shutting down the heater and cooling down. Then realize I shut that thing down for over an hour at least to stop it from overheating, and that's not how the floor creaks. It should also be taken in account that there are no vermin here, at least not any that could make that kind of noise. That walks out of the room. Floor creaked in reverse from when it entered. Just try to get asleep and pretend it was a nightmare. When I do, I felt horrendous. I can't breathe, legitimately asphyxiating. Get up as fast as I can from bed and run downstairs to look for family. It was waiting right beside my door. Just a formless shadow, waiting right behind the door in its frame. Taking a glimpse at it makes me skip a beat and I run faster. But it felt like an eternity. Running out of breath. Get to my parents' room. Scream for them, but no sound comes out. Air is running out. Scream harder in desperation. Wake up. I'm a goddamn furnace from sweating. Stay still. Check for the door frame's light, all clear. Still hesitate for a while, but I man up and go downstairs, not without checking for it. Nothing. Parents and brother are fine. I posted this story on poll one time, and a couple anons told me it was most likely an ugly panic attack, and so I rolled with that, but today I almost had a nervous breakdown due to some realizations. I now have a far taller chair, which casts a small shadow on the doorframe on most positions I leave it in. So do small objects I leave on my desk, which is right beside the stairs railing, and matching the light's entrance to my room, like cups. I realized this a couple weeks later during a far less scary experience where I grew some balls and looked, seeing a black bottle I left in my desk and laughing it off. But the older chair was so short it did not do shit to the incoming light, so was the desk. And the light was clear of anything that could disturb it, since it casted all the way. Realized that there was indeed something there. Fuck man. To add some fire to the fuel, prior to that I sometimes glimpsed at the stairs and saw a similar shadow retrade to the lower floor, and my small brother used to see someone walking away sometimes. TLDR. Have spooky experience, laugh it off and then realize it was fucking real.
Aunt's Ranch. I'm visiting with my folks. First evening, sitting on the front porch alone while the family all hangs out inside. I'm on my phone just reading/x/. Pretty quiet for about half an hour when I hear something moving out near the big wooden fence. On the other side is a field where the horses graze. It's pretty late and I've been staring at my phone, so my eyes take some time to adjust. It wasn't totally dark, but the sun was nearly set. At first, I see what is definitely a small man, in a peaked hat, walk from out of the grassy field, through the gaps in the fence, and onto the ranch grounds. I notice the home freeze. Eyes fully adjust. It's just a cat. Horse shit, man. The little man I saw was a totally different color than the cat, and he had a noticeable hat. I'm convinced I accidentally saw a gnome.
Alright, you X-file fucks. I have a story to tell you about the little people encounter I had about 6 years ago or so, basically the Cherokee version of the Fae. I live in the southeast of the USA, in a region called the Blue Ridge Mountains. Basically a lot of really pretty foothills and some large mountains. Great, beautiful place. I am about 13 to 14 years old. Recently our neighbors have been doing some massive construction project that rips down a large section of forest. In the woods fucking around friends, IDK what we were doing. We all start to feel uneasy. We realize it's pretty quiet and the animals aren't making any noises. Start to hear what sounds like rocks clicking. Just 1 or 2 clicks together, but definitely in succession. Just a tap tap, tap tap tap. See something out of the corner of my eye. Looks like a little humanoid figure, but basically just like a shadow is all. Turn to look but it's gone. This happens 3 to 5 times in the next 15 minutes or so. Me and both of my friends are seeing this. My friend who is part Cherokee starts freaking the fuck out, saying that, it's the little people, and he turns around and runs out of the forest. We're not very deep in. Freaks all of us out so we follow him. A friend explains that in Cherokee lore, the little people are small cave-dwelling mountain people that like to play tricks on individuals. These people do not like to be disturbed or followed though and will mess with people who disturb their land. Continue? It escalates pretty quickly from here over the next couple weeks. Pic related. People looked like this but only about 2 to 3 feet tall. My friend told me that he also saw a hawk earlier which he thought he remembered his grandfather told him was a bad omen. We don't go into the woods over the next couple days. One afternoon after school, I decided to go out into the woods behind my house again. Again, it is very quiet and I generally feel uneasy. Again, I hear that clicking. Tap tap. 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 Tap tap tap. Again I feel as if I am being watched. I look over to my left, maybe 200 feet away or so. The forest behind my house goes down into a little gully and then arches back up to start climbing a mountain. Across the gully I see one of the small creatures that I saw out of the corner of my eye again. It is there for a moment and then vanishes. I freak out and run out of the woods. So basically at this time I am pretty sure that this is some weird paranormal shit I'm seeing, or at least my friend is right and there's some fae people or something in the woods. So basically at this time I am pretty sure that this is some weird paranormal shit I'm seeing, or at least my friend is right and there's some fae people or something in the woods. Skip to several days later. We see hundreds of coyote tracks in the woods in some mud. Literally hundreds, like a whole pack had run through. Never had coyotes before. As the next week goes on, we continue to go into the woods and continue to eventually see bullshit in there. We played airsoft a lot so we always went in. Each time convinced ourselves that nothing was there, only to hear the rocks click and then get out of there in a near panic. Forest work continues. The area around it is becoming more and more deforested. Little people start to get angry and mean. Go outside on birthdays with friends. Middle of the night, I hear clicking, when all of a sudden my friend gets hit by something. Oh Anon, what was that? Haha. No one knows WTF he's talking about. Look down and there's a palm-sized rock in the brush behind him. These guys hit him with a rock. As the weeks go on, the small pranks begin to increase in time and severity. Not even in the woods now, things happen around the house. One time around dusk, I saw a small figure standing on the driveway at the top of the street. Shadowy figure, not even hiding at this point. Blinks in and out from one location to another. Begins to blink quickly towards my friends. Chases us all the way down towards his house, maybe a quarter mile away before we get inside. A couple days after this, my friend is inside his house and goes to bed normally. Remembers having bad dreams about little people. Wakes up in his shower completely naked. Thinks he sees something in the mirror. Quickly looks and sees nothing while simultaneously getting the biggest nosebleed he can remember. At this point, the construction is almost complete. All of us kids are freaked out. We don't want to go out into the woods very much anymore. My friend goes to talk to his grandpa. The Cherokee one. Tells him to have all of us go into the woods and tell them we mean no harm and are not interested in seeing them or disturbing them. Does some Cherokee prayer for the event? Apparently, I don't know. We do it. Tell the little people to leave us alone, please. Never see them again after that day. So that's my story. I don't know what was going on there. The little people are not supposed to look like shadow people, but that's what we saw. They usually have drums that they hit to get people to follow them into the forest, but if you do, then they deceive you and you get lost.
Do not seek out the little people. Some of them are kind, but some of them are vicious and exploitive. The ones who are nice aren't really to be trusted either, because they don't understand our reality, and any gifts they might give you won't help you function normally. Avoid the Fae.
How do I know which are kind and which are exploitative?
It's not always obvious. The vicious ones can masquerade as nice ones, and the nice ones can turn cruel if you don't act right. Generally, you want to listen to your instincts and be fair. Never accept a gift for a promise. Never take without offering equivalent exchange. Never agree without understanding exactly what you're agreeing to. Example. If you're walking in the woods and everything goes quiet and you find yourself lost suddenly, are you being followed by a fair fae or a cruel one? Could be either. So engage in equivalent exchange. Take a coin from your pocket and lay it out, then say aloud, "I'm paying you for my safe passage." You should be freed after that. That should work with both kind and mean fae. Should. Here's an example of how even the good fae can be scary. Once there was a man in Ireland and he was walking home through a field. He came upon a group of little folk who were arguing. One of them told the man they were having a beauty contest, and he had to be the judge. The man was very scared, because there's no good outcome for him with this. Nervously he picked a winner, but when he got home his dog was killed in the night by one of the losers. Even good little folk can be vicious and hurt you, even if you do everything they say and get along with them. Do not seek them out. Do not seek them out. Do not seek them out. They are not human and run on their own rules. Even the nice ones are frightening and vicious. The bad ones are mind-bendingly scary and evil.
Interesting. Is there more cautionary tales or other ways of avoiding them in case they are discovered?
If you discover them, see if you can get away without them knowing. If you're discovered, there are only 2 ways I know of to free yourself. The first is by paying for your freedom with metal or a promise. Metal is better because the Fae will exploit any favor you offer them, and the second is to get back into the city and stay there. The rules state that Fae can do what they want in wilderness or unsettled areas, but cities and settlements belong to us humans. So for example, if you're in a lightly wooded or rural area and you encounter them, you can either claim your right to walk unimpeded in human areas, say, "I have the right to be here by the old laws," or you can offer them something to leave you be. Never ever accept gifts from them, and certainly never imbibe any food or drink from them. Ever. Most people don't know this about the Fae, but the ones on our planet are cosmic criminals or the children of criminals. The truly good folk do not associate with them. I've encountered a good folk only once and it was inhumanly beautiful. They are very rare on Earth. 99.999% of the little folk on Earth are not your friends.
Alright boyos, long time lurker, but I feel it's important that I tell you guys about this experience I had as a kid. And if y'all can help me understand what it was. Be me. 4th grade, Southern California, post 9/11. It was a very pleasant spring day. It's lunchtime and my friends and I are eating in the cafeteria. The cafeteria is set up where we enter from the side and exit in the back. If I recall correctly, the school would provide us with stationery along with our lunch. Sometimes it would be crayons, booklets, posters, etc. On this fateful day, I had a hot dog on a wheat bun, milk, a fruit cup, and a special colored pencil. This pencil was the shit looking back, it had 4 colors mixed into one. Unfortunately at the time, I was a bit of an edgelord and thought the pencil was friendly. I also didn't want my milk and fruit, so I gave it away. I left my pencil at the table for whoever wanted it. I was the first one in my grade who finished their lunch and exited via the back door. As I walked out, I was excited because I would have first dibs on the dodgeball. I had nothing else in mind. Outside the cafeteria, there is another eating area followed by a tree-covered path that leads to the blacktop/playground area. This is where my encounter occurred. As I made my way to the tree-covered footpath, I was called out by name. This caught my attention real quick and I turned and saw this little girl. This child was shorter than me and looked like a kindergartner. But I'll never forget how she looked. She was dressed all in black and had a skull on her shirt. Now at my school, uniforms were mandatory. No exceptions. Her hair was a blonde and crisp blue eyes. I thought to myself, who is this girl? Why is she out of class? Each grade has different times for lunch. How did she know my name? It felt like time was standing still. She spoke again. You forgot this, smiling. It was that multicolored pencil that I left in the cafeteria. She tries to hand it over to me. I, like a dumbass/autist, say to her. No, thanks, I don't want it. You can keep it. I don't remember what she says next. If anything, she protested. She really wanted me to keep the pencil. I'm sure of that. I remembered that I wanted to be first to get the dodgeball. We're still alone out here and not one adult in sight. This is very unusual. The teacher's aides usually come out early to set up the games/sports that we play for recess. Again, time feels like it's dragging on. Collect my thoughts again. Dodgeball. Tell the girl deuces and make my way down the path to the playground. I really didn't want that pencil, I said to myself as I waited for the teacher's aide to show up. At this point, I look back and the girl was gone. Later during recess, I asked my friends who sat with me at the table if they saw the girl get my pencil. They said no. I asked another group of other kids if they saw the little girl. The guys tell me no, but one of the girls say that the devil is loose on campus. I've heard this rumor before. It's been circulating for weeks now, and I thought the guys would say that to scare girls. I decide to think nothing of it until recess is over. Later at home, start to look back and realize how sus the whole encounter was. I remember hearing rumors about weird stuff happening to girls in the restroom. Screams and doors slamming by themselves. Some would say they saw a ghost in the hall. Other would say it's the devil. As for myself, I remember seeing a bunch of dead rats piled at the door of the girls' restroom. This happened on more than one occasion. At the time I attributed this to cats though. Anyways, at home I told my grandma what happened and she tells me it could have been a witch and that I should have been more careful. What do you guys think? Was it a witch? A small person? The devil himself?
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.